The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows on the dusty rural road as Sam Thompson found himself handcuffed, rage boiling beneath his skin. His overalls were torn, and his face was flushed with anger, reflecting years of frustration that had culminated this moment. "You've got no right to do this," he shouted, voice cracking as he glared at the officer standing behind him. Every muscle in his body was tense. Defiance surged through him like a current. Officer Riley, stout and uncompromising, merely adjusted his belt, observing Sam with an expression that radiated authority. "You should have thought about that before making a scene," he replied, his tone calm yet patronizing. The officer's beige uniform seemed out of place against the backdrop of the scrubby woods and worn-down house just beyond the road, where the tension was suffocatingly palpable. Sam took a deep breath, steam rising from the frustration within him. "What did you expect me to do? Sit back and watch my life get torn apart?" His fists clenched at his sides, the metal of the handcuffs biting into his wrists. In that moment, he felt as if the whole world was watching him, a spectacle of power and submission. The police car parked nearby, a stark white against the sun-bleached earth, felt like a cage of judgment. Sam's mind raced, replaying the events that had led to this standoff. Just days earlier, he had been sitting on his porch, talking to his neighbors about the erosion of their rights, about the injustice that hung over their community like a dark cloud. "Sam," a voice called from behind the officer. It was his neighbor, Lucy, a fiery woman with the strength of a lioness. She stood at the edge of the crowd that had gathered, her hands balled into fists at her sides, radiating a mix of concern and anger. "This is wrong. You are just standing up for what's right." Officer Riley turned his head slightly. "Step back, ma'am. This doesn't concern you," he barked, his tone sharp as broken glass. "Actually, it does concern me," Lucy shot back, her voice ringing out with conviction. "You can't just arrest someone for speaking their mind. They're trying to silence us." Sam felt a flicker of hope ignite in his chest at Lucy's words, but it was quickly extinguished by the officer's unwavering stance. "You're pushing too far, lady," Riley warned, casting a glance toward the gathered crowd. "Just keep quiet unless you want to end up with him." The crowd's murmurs grew louder, the air thick with tension. Sam strained against the handcuffs, feeling the searing heat of indignation coursing through him. "This isn't just about me. It's about our whole community," he exclaimed, boldness rising within him. "When are we going to be heard?" The officer straightened, intimidating and unyielding. "What you need to worry about is your behavior, Thompson. Keep shouting and it'll get worse for you." Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted as an unnerving energy crackled in the air. A figure emerged from the edge of the crowd, walking with purpose. Sam squinted against the harsh sunlight, recognition gut-punching him as the man's features came into focus. It was Mr. Henderson, a local businessman known for his connections to the police force. "Officer Riley," Mr. Henderson called out, a tone of authority lacing his words. "What's going on here?" Riley's posture stiffened, and for a fleeting moment, Sam perceived a crack in the officer's stoicism. "Just an incident," he replied, trying to keep the peace. But Mr. Henderson seemed unperturbed. "This is not how we handle things, Riley. Let him go. Enough is enough. We can't keep pretending we're not part of the problem." The crowd fell silent, the weight of Henderson's words hanging in the air. Sam's heart raced with incredulity. Could the tide be turning? Would the support of his community sway the officer's judgment? "Sir, you don't understand," Riley responded, his voice more cautious now. "He's stirring the pot. We have procedures." "At this point, you're just fueling the fire," Henderson shot back, stepping forward, no longer the silent observer.
"He deserves a chance to speak."
"The people deserve to be heard without fear of being detained." Sam's eyes darted from Henderson to Riley, sensing the palpable tension between the two men. Something was shifting, and he could feel it in his bones. "Fine," Riley grumbled, glancing at Sam as if he were the root of all evil. "But you walk a fine line, Thompson." As the handcuffs were removed, Sam felt a rush of blood return to his wrists, yet a swirling chaos filled his mind. "What's next?" he breathed, a mix of relief and anxiety battling within him. The voices of his neighbors rose again, emboldened by the unfolding drama, but amidst the cheering, he sensed an impending storm brewing beneath the surface. "What do you think this will change?" Officer Riley muttered, shaking his head disdainfully. "You think just because you have some support, everything will magically get better?" The danger in his words sent an icy chill down Sam's spine. Was there more to this rebellion than he had realized? He had stirred the pot, but what if forces beyond his control were plotting their moves? "Let's make this meeting count," Lucy yelled, rallying the crowd's spirits as they clustered closer together, united by a single goal. But Sam, acutely aware of the brewing storm, couldn't shake the feeling that their gathering was only the beginning of something larger, something that would test their resolve and loyalty beyond anything they could anticipate. As Officer Riley stepped aside, a storm of questions began to fill Sam's mind. But he quickly reminded himself of the stakes. They had built a community determined to seek justice, but challenges awaited on the horizon, rendering today's small victory a mere prelude. Faced with the weight of what was to come, Sam straightened his back, determination coursing through him. The fight for their rights had begun, but the realization of all he had yet to confront hung heavy in the air. Whatever lay ahead, Sam knew he needed to be ready, for his community, for himself, and for the truths that had yet to unravel. The battle was just beginning. With determination coursing through him, Sam stood tall, feeling the weight of the crowd's resolve behind him. The atmosphere crackled with energy, a potent mixture of hope and defiance, yet shadows loomed ominously behind their small victory. The taste of freedom was bittersweet, reminding him this was only the prologue to a much larger conflict. As the crowd gathered around him, a mix of familiar faces ignited a fire in his belly. Lucy's encouraging smile bolstered his courage, but Sam couldn't shake the nagging feeling that the tension from earlier wouldn't dissipate so easily. "Now we get to speak our truth," Lucy called out, her voice carrying across the throng, stirring a palpable energy. "We demand to be heard. Let's make sure our concerns resonate beyond these dusty roads." Those words galvanized the crowd, and they began to chant, calling for change. Voices rose in unison, a chorus of frustration and resolve that echoed off the nearby trees. But Sam knew they needed more than just shouts to shake the foundations of their community. "Let's head to the town hall," he shouted, galvanizing the march. The crowd surged forward, marching with purpose as Sam led, heart-thumping in rhythm with their united front. As they walked, Sam's mind swirled with thoughts. What lay ahead when they arrived? Would the local leaders listen? Or would they face another obstacle? The very notion of what could lie behind those doors, the discussions that could spiral into deeper conflicts, sent a thrill of adrenaline through him. Suddenly, a voice pierced through the chanting frenzy. "Sam." It was Officer Riley, breaking through the ranks of the marchers, his face flushed with anger. "You really think you're doing something important here? More important than you know." Sam shot back, his anger flaring. The audacity of the officer's intrusion sent heat rising within him. "We're fighting for our rights, officer. We won't be silenced any longer." Riley stepped closer, his jaw tightened, eyes narrowing. "You're causing a disturbance. You think you can just rally people up and nothing will happen? You're not in control, Thompson." "Control?" Sam echoed, incredulous. "What control do you have over the fear that has kept us quiet? We're done with your intimidation tactics." The officer stood rigid, but a flicker of uncertainty danced in his eyes. The crowd hesitated for a moment, sensing the tension mounting. The moment lingered, pregnant with the potential for either an explosive confrontation or a transformative breakthrough. "Enough, Sam. Just fall in line," Riley said with a tone that left little doubt as to what would follow if Sam didn't comply. The officer's unyielding stance caused the crowd to shift uneasily, tension thickening like dark storm clouds. But before Sam could respond, Lucy stepped forward, standing tall beside him. "You're not going to intimidate us anymore, Officer Riley," she declared fiercely. "We're not going back to silence." For a moment, the world felt frozen around them. Their bravery contrasted sharply against the officer's authority. But then, as if on cue, the air crackled, and a wave of cheers erupted from the crowd, enveloping Lucy and Sam, reaffirming their collective strength. Seeing the resolve in their faces, Riley's expression turned stormy. "I won't stand by and let this escalate," he warned, glancing toward his patrol car. "You're treading dangerous waters, Thompson. Then maybe you need to change your course," Sam shouted back, galvanizing the crowd once more. "This isn't just our fight. It's yours too if you choose to listen." Riley stepped back, visibly shaken but unwilling to back down. "We'll see about that," he muttered, turning away, frustration boiling beneath the surface. As the dust settled and the crowd began to move toward the town hall once more, a majestic sense of purpose filled the air. But beneath that triumph, Sam felt an exhaustion that extended deeper than mere fatigue. The confrontation with Riley had stirred something within him, a realization that as much as this moment mattered, the fight lay not just in winning small battles, but in overcoming the roots of oppression that had dug themselves deep into their lives. Arriving at the town hall, the large wooden doors loomed like sentinels, guarding the bureaucracy that often overlooked their existence. The exterior looked imposing, but Sam could see the hopeful glint in Lucy's eyes, reflecting the burning desire for equality. They had come too far to be defeated now. Inside, they were greeted by a cold, sterile meeting room, the sharp contrast of their fervor against the institutional indifference palpable. Rows of chairs faced a long table where council members sat, sipping coffee and discussing mundane matters, oblivious to the revolution brewing at their doorstep. "Let's not waste time," Sam called out, taking center stage before the assembly of local leaders. "You've all been hearing our voices, but have you listened?" The shuffling of papers stilled as the council members looked up, some surprised, others apprehensive. The tension in the chamber amplified, thick and electric. "Who does he think he is?" one councilman murmured, looking to his colleagues. "The voice of our community," Lucy boomed, stepping beside Sam unwavering. "You should be ashamed of ignoring us for so long. Our lives matter. Our concerns matter." A moment of silence hung heavy in the air, a small victory for their cause, but it shattered with a sharp, disdainful laugh from the far side of the room. "Please," scoffed another council member, a man with graying hair. "What do you want us to do? You expect us to make changes just because you're making noise?" Sam clenched his fists.
Yes.
"We are tired of waiting, tired of being ignored. We deserve representation. We deserve respect." His voice resonated with anger and desperation as he spoke, the room's atmosphere shifting. "Fine then. If you want to argue, let's do just that," the councilman said, leaning back in his chair with an air of mockery. "You can state your case, but just remember, talk is cheap." With those words hanging in the air, Sam felt the fire inside him ignite once more. The challenge was set. They were not merely speaking to be heard anymore. They were ready to demand tangible change, to confront the disdain that had muffled their voices for too long. "Let's put it to a vote," Sam urged the crowd behind him, his pulse racing. "Will you stand with us? Will you fight for a rightful place in this community?" As cheers erupted, Sam knew that this was their moment. It wasn't just about standing up for themselves. It was about igniting a flame of change that had been long overdue. They were prepared to shatter the silence, and whatever obstacles lay ahead, he was ready to face them, fueled by the collective will of their community. Whatever awaited their discussion in the council room, one thing was certain. The battle lines had been drawn, and the fight for justice had truly begun. The air crackled with energy as Sam felt the overwhelming tide of voices behind him, neighbors, friends, people who had borne the weight of silence for far too long. With every cheer that erupted from the crowd, his pulse quickened. They were ready to stand up, to demand their place, but uncertainty loomed within him. The mark of a real change wouldn't just be found in shouts. It would require strategy, determination, and courage deeper than they had shown thus far. "Let's vote," he called out, rallying the crowd with a fervent urgency. "We want our voices heard at this table. It's time to let them see our strength." A council member fidgeted nervously, glancing between Sam and his colleagues, and Sam caught the indecision on the man's face. The council had held all the power, but now, as more community members arrived, an undeniable pressure built within the room. Even those seated at the table sensed the shift. No longer were they merely the overseers. They were facing the storm that had been gathering. "Well, you've certainly riled everyone up," the graying councilman said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "But it seems you're just a bunch of angry voices without a plan." Angry voices? Lucy stepped up, her spirit fierce and unwavering. "We're not here for theatrics. We're here because we have real issues that need addressing. This is about our homes, our families, our futures." The fire in her words encompassed the frustration of the entire room. As he spoke, the strategist's smirk evaporated, replaced by a flicker of uncertainty. "I'm just saying," he attempted, regaining his composure. "If you want to gain traction, hitting the right notes is essential. Not antagonizing them is part of the deal." "But this isn't about playing it safe," Marcus said, stepping forward, his voice resonating with conviction. "This is about truly representing our community, and we can't do that if we water down our values and truths. We refuse to dim our fire." A murmur of approval resonated through the crowd, emboldening Sam further. As he looked around, he saw a gathering storm of fire and defiance, and he knew they were ready to challenge the forces that had long suppressed them. The strategist's expression hardened, his eyes darting between Sam and Lucy, the palpable tension thickening in the air. "Be careful what you wish for," he warned, but there was an undercurrent of unease beneath his bravado. "You might just get it, or we might not, or it might be worse than we ever imagined," Sam shot back. "But we'll never know unless we try. The only real failure is giving up in the face of intimidation." At that moment, indomitable unity swelled within the room, and the townspeople, once drowned in fear, seemed galvanized by their collective purpose. With every passing second, their spirits lifted, the fire within them growing brighter, the air crackling with the electricity of impending change. As the strategist opened his mouth, preparing to dismiss their resolve with reason, Sam planted his feet firmly and addressed the stranger. "You may have connections, but those connections can't feel what we do. We're not just names in your political game. We're families, teachers, farmers, and neighbors. We have dignity that can't be taken from us." The stillness that followed his words was almost shocking. For a heartbeat, everyone held their breath as the conviction in Sam's stance reverberated through the hall, the walls absorbing the depth of their determination. Finally, the strategist crossed his arms, tilting his head slightly as if weighing his next words. "All right," he conceded, with a begrudging respect in his tone. "If you're going to take this meeting, I recommend you prepare for the backlash that may follow. Change doesn't come easily. I'll assist in setting it up on the condition that you treat my advice seriously." "Deal," Sam said firmly, gratitude swelling within him, mingled with determination. They would use this opportunity, but on their own terms. The crowd erupted into cheers, the awareness of their newfound power radiant in the room. They began to discuss strategies of how best to present their case, mapping out each point, channeling their stories into shared narratives that expressed their demands clearly. As Sam absorbed the breadth of their emotions, hope, fear, anger, and anticipation, all the components of a revolution brewed just beneath the surface of their intimacy. Yet their shared purpose, each story intricately woven into the fabric of the community, fueled a commitment beyond a mere tactical maneuver. The strategist, standing on the fringe, observed in silence as the crowd moved toward camaraderie, a sense of purpose igniting their spirits. He knew that something had shifted. The meeting with the mayor was only the beginning, a navigation through the waters of political complexity ahead. Sam felt the weight of time pressing upon them, every heartbeat a reminder that every moment counted. As the crowd began to disperse, he felt a heavy knot of trepidation settle in his gut. Yes, they had made strides today, but so much lay ahead. Conclusions were yet to be drawn, and the battle yet to be fought. The shadow of uncertainty loomed just as large as their resolve, and he was acutely aware of the stakes involved. Stay close, Sam urged as Lucy moved to pocket her phone, no doubt already planning a strategy meeting for later. Change might come slower than we hope, and I'll need every one of you with me on this journey. Yes, Lucy said, her confidence a steady spark of inspiration. We won't back down.
Not now.
Let's show them the strength of our unity. With one last glance around at the faces that had come together, Sam felt the mounting determination, the framework of hope coalescing among them like building blocks for the future. As the town hall was temporarily emptied of its occupants, Sam stood firm, resolute at the heart of what they had started. Whatever awaited them, he would stand unwavering, the torch of unity lit bright and clear, ready to forge a path forward. And with that, he took a deep breath, knowing that change would come, not just with voices but also with action, commitment, and resolve, a testament to the courage of those who dared to stand together against the looming shadows of indifference. After today, there would be no turning back. The fight had only just begun.